It's like Pinhead shows up and like threatens to take you to the Yu-Gi-Oh dimension, basically. Well, there's your isekai anime that we were talking about that on the bonus content. Jamie's isekai anime is solving the Millennium Puzzle and then being taken by Pinhead to the Yu-Gi-Oh dimension to be sexually tortured for all eternity.
Oh no.
Gorebones here, the internet's #1 fake history podcast. It returns halfway through spooky season because we recorded a few extras and took 2 weeks off. I am an angel to some and demon to others, Peter O'Donohue, and I have been summoned with...
I fell into all these pins. They're poking me in the face. All these pins are poking me in the face, Peter.
Are you a bowling ball for Halloween? What are you?
Oh, I threw myself down a bowling lane and I got hit in the face with all these pins. Yeah.
And I'm James. I'm the ball cleaner.
like the golf course one. It's got like the corkscrew with the brushes on the inside.
Yep.
You ever seen that?
I have. They should make something like that for dishes, like a dishwasher or something.
Like a dishwasher.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I want. Is a rotating pillar that I can put one plate into, full of steel wool. That I just like
just your
every time I eat.
Take a dishwasher, make it more manual. Honestly,
yeah, exactly. Put a crank on it. Actually,
well, you could like double it up. You could like churn your butter while also like washing your utensils or something.
Okay, yeah. You have it on. You have like a butter churner on one end of the inversion table, and then your plate grater on the other end of the inversion table, and you like swap back and forth.
Yeah, or you could just, if you had it set up like a rail car, you could have your single plate go down as the butter, whatever the broomstick.
Honey, help me do the dishes.
You get a pendulum. You can get a pendulum to get it to go both ways, right? Like,
yeah.
The only thing is actually I go back on this. I'll never need anything to wash my utensils because we're making garlic bread forks. And that's why we eat all of our pescetti.
Yeah.
G-borks.
Yeah.
So that's Jamie and Ethan. Jamie the inventor and Ethan Bowling Pinhead.
Okay, can I? I'm so curious, Jamie, what kind of math you were trying to do for the countdown to this.
This 9.
Oh, I use it as an excuse to not, because Pete said, "How about you count us in 1, 2, 3, go for how many weeks we've had off," and as an excuse to just not need to count more than once, I just said I'm not going to do the math.
Okay. Jamie's like a pretty girl. He plays dumb to not embarrass Ethan and I.
Yeah.
Pete's saying 9.
Did we not take 3 weeks off or 2?
We took 3.
No, we took 3.
Yeah.
No, we on the 26th. Yeah, we've been.
Oh
off
no,
2 weeks.
it felt like 3 because the last time we recorded, it would have been 3 weeks until we needed to record. But we were technically that 1 week we were just doing our normal schedule. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Exactly.
So we're off.
Yeah, but I would have gone 3, 2, 1, go, 3, 2, 1, go. I would have done 3, 2, 1, go twice. That's the only way I was thinking it. Now Pete's saying 9, and I'm like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
Can the Lore Boys do math?
Well, because I was thinking 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, or 3, 2, 1, go 3 times. Personally,
already, this is my worst nightmare because I tried to avoid this whole thing, and now it's taking up so much time.
I brought it back.
Speaking of nightmares, as it is, of course, spooky season, and I don't know if we'll bother with the pre-roll warning for those who may not, maybe a little weak of constitution. I'll warn you now that if you're not into ghouls, gore, and ghosts, check out some of our other episodes. There are literal hundreds if the horror-flavored ones are not up your alley. But today's Hellraiser episode was requested by Sad Clown, Toodles, and actually Magnus the Pink, who, while they aren't patrons like Atlas Pendragon, Fatboy AP, Better Be Tybalt, and Taylor Thomas, I know they were still into the Halloween stuff, and I needed something Halloween-y. Magnus actually requested Hellraiser like 4 minutes before I connected to Discord, so good timing. Getting into the episode right on the wire there, buddy. So, Hellraiser. I assigned you guys some homework to watch the movie last night. Did you do it?
actually thought it was the movie Hellboy.
I know.
Like, the guy with the red hair. The guy.
So you said that in our Discord channel, James, and we had a laugh about it. I said ha ha ha, and then Ariane asked what episode we're doing, and I was like, oh, we're doing I can't even remember the name of it.
Hellraiser.
And she's like, oh, is that like the red guy with like the cut off horns?
That's what I thought too.
Like Jamie said the same thing.
The big stone hand. Yeah.
No, it's the guy with a bowling ball for a head that hits all the time.
Yeah. So the Hellraiser series, I think. My familiarity, I listened to the first 45 minutes of the audiobook, which is on YouTube, and so far so good. And then also I've seen the first movie. But the Hellraiser series, I think, dethrones Assassin's Creed as God King of dumb cool world subtitles. So we have Hellraiser, we have Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, Hellraiser 4, Bloodline, Hellraiser Inferno, Hellraiser Hellseeker, my favorite, Hellraiser Deader. Just like,
does that have a question mark or just like?
No, that's me. As I can't.
What if Bon Jovi?
I want to know.
What if Bon Jovi took the same shortcuts? She wanted, deader.
Yes. Then there's Hellraiser Hellworld, Hellraiser Revelations, Hellraiser Judgment, and then finally we come around the side of the Hollywood horseshoe and we get what is probably a pointless remake, Hellraiser 2022, which is allegedly a reboot quel or something. I checked IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes or one of the ones, some aggregator, and like audiences and critics both put it at like 6 out of 10, so it's probably fine. The trailers are all really fucking dark. It's really hard to see things, which in my experience is just a cheap trick to hide shitty VFX. But don't know if you've seen the new Hellraiser. Let me know how it is over on Discord, which is linked below. It was written by David Goyer, who has other like 5-head, 200 IQ scripts like Batman v Superman and Terminator Dark Fate under his belt. So if you can imagine, I don't think Hellraiser 2022 is any better than the 6 out of 10 that it's gotten. So
I mean, to be fair, the Google aggregate is showing 6.1. Okay, so IMDb is 6.1. Rotten Tomatoes is 67%. So 6.7 out of 10 for the original. Bad. Oh, no, wait, sorry. This is giving me 2022. That's why.
Yeah.
It's not even out yet.
I think it is out. I'm not sure. I didn't try and watch it legitimately for research.
Oh, so Rotten Tomatoes on the original Hellraiser is 70. So 7 out of 10.
Yeah, fucking got it.
right about there, honestly.
Barely worse. The original is really, really fucking cool. I watched it last Halloween at my buddy Brandon's place when we were just watching a bunch of horror movies, basically to get in the spirit of things. And I think it's great. It's got a lot of really cool practical effects and some not so good practical effects, which you guys will see in the spoiler images that I posted. But broadly speaking, I think it's pretty cool.
So I've never seen Hellraiser. I know who Pinhead is from the cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah.
His name is Pinhead.
Yeah.
Oh,
who do you call him Pinhead?
I thought I thought we were just joking because he had so many pins in his head, but no, his name. Okay, spot on.
Yeah.
Clive Barker was joking. Wrote the book. So I'm like,
we'll get into all that.
I'm aware of Hellraiser. I had no, and I know this happens with horror movies and horror movie franchises. I had no fucking clue there was 11 films. Like, Jesus.
Oh boy.
I was like, oh, there's one. It's like a cult classic. They let it lie peacefully. Surely they did not disturb its slumber.
No, I mean, like a horror franchise that has been beaten severely to death is like Alien, and there's 7 movies, which is 6.5 too many, right?
Yep.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen any of them. Maybe they're amazing.
I like to. I thought Alien. I like the original. Yeah. I like the original quadrilogy. I mean, they do get progressively worse for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, by comparison to like the AVP films or the
I forgot about AVP.
Yeah, or
shit.
I can't even remember the ones with the Jesus.
What's the one movie where like toothpaste was the thing to beat the aliens or whatever? Or it was like something.
Oh no,
really
it was
dumb.
Head and Shoulders. That was Evolution.
I'm thinking of Evolution.
Oh, Head and Shoulders.
That movie's great.
The movie Head and Shoulders, or the movie Head and Shoulders, the movie Evolution with David Duchovny. Yeah.
I just remember there's like a bomb with like a smiley face or an alien with like a weird smiley face on the front.
It's the classic smiley face, but it's got three eyes.
Oh
yeah. Because it's like an alien spore lands and it causes things to like rapidly evolve or whatever. So they just end up with like these caves full of fungus, which then like evolve species, like independent species on their own, basically.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's like the dinosaur stage, and then there's the primate stage, and then the gigantic starfish stage. It's like all life converges into one being, and then they put Head and Shoulders up its butt, and it dies.
It's the crab stage. They just ran out of budget for the claws.
Exactly.
Everything's converging towards crab, right?
I wonder how much Head and Shoulders had to pay to get that. Like, we could be in a different world. Like, what if I don't know, like Vaseline decided to do that? I don't know. Vaseline up the butt actually might not kill anything. But...
No, it would make it indestructible. The Head and Shoulders wouldn't be able to pierce the Vaseline.
Yeah,
the petroleum jelly shield. So the original Hellraiser film was written and directed by Clive Barker and was based on a novella called The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker. So it's very much like an if you want something done right moment in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Though I do like to think someone took him aside during the production of the film and said, Clive, I know you had your heart set on calling it Sadomasochists from Hell, but maybe use your second choice. Because the working title of the film was Sadomasochists from Hell.
From Hell. Sadomasochists, ... From Hell.
From Hell. Yeah, of course. In different like impact font, basically. One reviewer called it the best horror film to ever be made in Britain, and I don't know what the bar for horror films in Britain was in 1987, but there we go.
I think they did that.
Apparently 7 out of 10 was the best movie that Britain had, the best horror film that Britain could put out.
They did like what? Retake the Block, which is where those like aliens attack London and there's that like Cockney gang that takes them on.
Didn't that come out like 10 years ago?
That's not old, yeah. I'm just
I'm
saying it's a British horror film, and that's as far as I go. Does Shaun of the Dead count?
Probably. Yeah.
Have you tried driving through London traffic? That's a horror on its own.
The M5, man. Forget
trying to find a flat at a reasonable price in the most expensive city on earth.
Can't get no respect. I don't know, it just sounded like
it's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. The Wikipedia page's first paragraph about Hellraiser is kind of like almost a comedic in tone, because the last line reads, Roger Ebert decried its bankruptcy of imagination. It was followed by 9 sequels, which is just like Roger Ebert calling a spade, basically. Yeah. So prior to writing novellas, or directing films, Clive Barker was actually a gay prostitute in London. And the experience inspired him to create a story about good and evil in which sexuality was the connective tissue. So maybe our next great horror auteur is some chick doing ASMR on OnlyFans right now. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
There's a bunch of drama going on with Amaranth and her husband right now, by the way. It's crazy. I don't know if I should bring it up on the episode, but... not in
the middle here, but I am tangentially aware of that. Just every time I go on Twitter a couple times a day to just retweet shit posts for the Lore Boys accounts, I do see like always trending, basically.
She's about to be single, Pete, so we have a chance. So
finally.
Damn. Which one of you is going to be good and which one of you is going to be evil? Because she's the connective tissue, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Connective tissue for all society, really.
So Clive Barker's experience in BDSM clubs inspired some of the character designs, along with some of the things that he saw in some kind of club called Cell Block 28 in New York City. It was like a body-piercing fetish club, basically.
Cool.
The novella and its sub-3-hour audiobook, very much worth taking a look at, opens with a man named Frank Cotton fiddling with a puzzle box that he had bought in Germany, and he's currently hiding out in his dead mother's old house. The box is called the Le Marchand configuration, after its alleged creator, Philippe Le Marchand, and was said to be able to be open. Fuck's sake. It's 3 weeks off, 2 weeks off. I forget how to speak English.
That's hard.
The box.
You're also, to be fair, you're also speaking French.
I
am. That's the worst kind of English.
So the puzzle box was said to be able to open a schism between our dimension and a dimension of pure pleasure. Our boy Frank is an addict, you see. He is a brutal and selfish BDSM addict, so focused on his pursuit of pleasure that he routinely ignores the desires of his lovers and often causes them harm. It says he's a criminal. I don't know if there's like active sex charges against him in the book. Certainly not in the film. But he definitely is like the worst kind of Dommy lover, basically.
The worst kind of pervert.
Yeah, exactly. No limits, no safe word, no respect. He's just no respect. Can't get no safe words. Yeah, so that's why he is like so addicted to pain and pleasure that the world's greatest salesman could sell him a puzzle box. It was just like, yeah, that'll open a schism into another dimension of ultimate pain and pleasure. And he's just like, whoa, where do I sign up?
Yeah.
Instead of just like, there's an extreme whorehouse somewhere in Germany you can go to. It's like, magic box. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the film, the box is brown with gold trim, so you guys can open the first spoiler image and maybe do a little audio booking yourself.
Yeah, I mean it's a puzzle box. All right, it's got it's brown box inlaid with gold designs on each face. Looks like unique designs on each face, which presumably has like hidden little mechanisms. If you can solve it, you open a portal to the Slanesh dimension.
Yeah, basically.
Looks like a dial on one side. Like I can't even tell, other than the dial, what would really move.
Yeah, I don't know. That one face kind of looks like my mother.
And if this was a pyramid, I might think it was Yugimoto's Millennium Puzzle.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it kind of looks like that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Except when you put this together, you don't become a really cool old pharaoh from the Shadow Plane.
Maybe you do. Schism. If that's your pleasure, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
It's like Pinhead shows up and like threatens to take you to the Yu-Gi-Oh dimension, basically. Well, there's your isekai anime that we were talking about that on the bonus content. Jamie's isekai anime is solving the Millennium Puzzle and then being taken by Pinhead to the Yu-Gi-Oh dimension to be sexually tortured for all eternity.
Oh no!
No, show me on the doll. Show me on the doll where they put the Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Blue Eyes White Dragon. Oh no, there's the Celtic Guardian.
In the novel, the puzzle box is described as being wooden still, but it's covered in a glossy black lacquer, so it looked a little bit different. After fiddling with the box for some time, Frank manages to start to solve it, whether it is by luck or by some dark magic, like it wanted to be solved. It may have a will of its own. Or maybe it was just like one of those Facebook genius puzzles where they have two numbers in brackets and like everybody gets the question wrong. So,
well, I like to think it does what it do, Yugi. Yeah. It does what it do.
Now I just want that crossover, frankly.
Yeah, me too.
With Jamie being the glue that holds them together.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Jamie is going to be like one of those, the nerdy anime student who is always late and almost getting hit by cars and is like goofily animated.
Yep. And I'm going to have a romantic interrelations with my teacher or my doctor or my friend's mom.
Your dark magician. Yeah.
My dark magician.
Yeah.
It's all possible. It could happen. Yeah.
It's all possible.
Yeah. Us just trying to force together the 5 things we know about anime.
I was like, I played Persona 5. What happened in that game? Oh, you try and fuck everyone. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this puzzle box sounds right at home in Persona.
Yeah.
Where, like, whatever the kid's name is solves the puzzle box and then goes to a dimension where he gets to fuck his teacher.
Yeah.
So once the box is solved, Frank finds himself somewhere new, face to face with 4 disturbing beings, which are the main subject of today's episode, the Cenobites.
Right.
So they are in the audiobook, at least. They are revealed in the first 45 seconds.
And those are like the pill bugs you find like in your bathroom, right, around the sink and stuff.
That's a silverfish, I think.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, completely different. The Cenobites are extra-dimensional beings who serve Leviathan, the god of flesh and desire. So unlike the mythical Leviathan, which we've definitely touched on 1,000 times now, in Pokemon, in A True Story, the Greek one that we did, and definitely some other stuff,
It's in Final
it's not
Fantasy 2 somewhere. Anyways,
yeah, Final Fantasy has a lot of like biblical name spells, like Bahamut, I think, and Cloud or some shit.
Yeah.
Another thing I'm very familiar with.
Ifrit, Shiva. I think those are like South Asian.
Shiva's a god, yeah.
There's the one with the R. Ra.
Ramu.
Yeah. Ra.
Ramu.
I just started singing Bad
Barrett,
Romance.
Tifa, Lady Gaga, all those characters.
Yeah.
So Leviathan within the Cenobite universe and the Hellraiser universe is actually just this gigantic rotating crystal spraying out black mist above a labyrinth. The labyrinth seems to be the entire extent of this dimension. In one of the Hellraiser films, like 2 people end up going there, and you get to see a bit of it. There's like a bramble forest on the outside, like some horrible thorny wood, and then just an infinite labyrinth out in front of you, and then the rotating crystal just ejecting it.
The pleasure dimension.
I mean,
knew I should have taken that left at Albuquerque.
Well, let me ask you one question: do you love puzzles?
Yeah,
this could be your pleasure dimension. It's
not as much as being sodomized.
Well, wait till you get to the middle with the Minotaur, baby.
Oh yeah, like instead of the ball of twine at the entrance of the labyrinth, you've got like this huge fucking like bolt of bondage rope. You're just like, yeah, no, we're going to use this to find our way back out.
I was thinking like candles,
Yeah.
and flower petals, maybe to
yeah. What's his name? Who goes into the labyrinth and kills the Minotaur? Theseus, yeah. He like clips around the little dog collar and ties his leash to the entrance of the labyrinth. He's like, I'll be able to find my way out. Don't worry, guys.
He's got the muzzle. He goes through the labyrinth on all fours, actually.
Yeah. Just like spray painted like a Dalmatian.
Yeah. You can bring your Gimp on the Montreal Metro as of now, as long as he has a muzzle.
Yes, I saw those signs, yeah.
Yep.
If you replace all the leather straps on your Gimp over time, is it still the same Gimp at the end of it?
What's it?
Theseus, of course.
Theseus' Gimp. I think so. Every 7 years, your Gimp completely regenerates every part in its body. It's still the same Gimp as it was before.
And then you've got the debate of like whether Gimps have souls and is being human the body or the soul, right?
Yeah.
That's why I would never let my Gimp go into a teleporter, because it atomizes you and then rebuilds a new you on the other end. So
of course,
I know that's not the same Gimp that I left with.
But if it has all the same thoughts and memories, is it, dude? It's hard to say. No. What a dumb way to approach a real philosophical problem.
I was thinking of like a Jeff Goldblum accidentally being in the teleporter with a Gimp, and then the entire movie The Fly is about him like melting and turning into a Gimp and like horrifying Gina Davis. Which is a movie I've never seen, but I know the premise because I saw the Simpsons parody once.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah.
So while the film is called Hellraiser and the novella was called The Hellbound Heart, the Cenobites do not call the realm Hell at all. It is never even referred to up until whatever the 35th sequel that they released in the 90s.
Sure.
They keep it super vague, and they simply call it another realm. They serve Leviathan through an organization called the Order of the Gash, the dual meaning of which reminds us of both open wounds and the absolute worst slang for vagina on the planet, in my opinion.
It is a British slang, too, and if that's a British film, then...
Yeah. I mean, Clive Barker, British movie, but yeah, Order of the Gash is just
Order of the
horrible.
Axe Wound.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's just horrible, yeah.
I hate those. Yeah.
Where was I? Right. So when summoned, they're being described as completely covered entirely in scar tissue, piercings, and open mutilation wounds. Then their black, kind of leathery gimp suit clothing that is like artistically, it's described as being a combination of like doctor, butcher, and bondage gear. So like the longer apron, sort of like a thick apron, like a doctor or a butcher would have, and then all the straps and buckles and needles and shit going into them.
Dress for the jobs you want, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Down here, the
doctor butcher.
Yeah, down here, the stethoscope's always cold.
My lesions.
Oh, my gash. You brought it up, Peter.
It's Clive Barker brought it up. I'm just don't shoot the messenger, dude.
Then a sad clown or whoever requested this on Patreon or in the Discord, they brought it up.
Yeah. Some of their black leathery clothing is like sewn into or even below their skin. Like some of the straps are like under the flesh, like a belt loop would be in some cases.
Become gimp suit.
Yes. Mm-hmm. They're finally one.
You ever do that with like pins with your hand skin in school? You could grab like a pin off the board and like take the tiny layer of skin. Yeah.
All the time. Like I think until I was in high school, if I ever got my hands on a thumbtack or like a push pin, I guess, because the thumbtacks are the flat kind of brass ones. If I ever got my hands on a push pin, I would always push down the little skin, the little manicure skin on your thumbnail, and then just like poke the tiny little pain-free layer like all the time. Yeah.
Oh, another thing that I totally don't recommend anyone do, but I found out that at a pretty early age that stapling yourself, as long as it's like in a meaty place, doesn't really hurt that much.
Doesn't hurt that bad.
Yeah.
Me and Jamie used to do that.
Yeah, to freak out a really attractive French teacher. I was like, Madame, and I stapled my own chest.
Anime protagonist.
Yeah, I put a staple in my own peg.
When you go to prom with me, she says no, Jamie staples his own chest. When you go to prom with me, she says no, Jamie staples his own chest.
The forearms were especially good. You can freak out girls by doing it. It's like, clack, put a staple.
I've never done that.
I know.
It's not that
bad. Me and Jamie one day in the library in history, where it was history class, we go to the library. And we're just sitting there, obviously goofing off, and just like stapling our forearms. And the teacher comes over, and she's like, Miss Edge was her name. She comes over, she's like, "What are you guys? Great. What are you guys doing, or whatever?" And we're like, "Oh, we're just I don't know, stapling our forearms. It doesn't hurt that bad, Miss." She's like, "Oh, could I see?"
Yeah, that's right. I forgot she asked us to do it for her. Yeah. We had drawn pictures of what Miss Edge was going to look like because we learned her name before we met her. We're like,
because our teacher was going on pat leave. We had a Miss Tolhurst who was going on mat leave, I should say.
Yeah.
And so we knew she was leaving, and she just said like, "Oh, Miss Edge is going to be replacing you." So we were picturing like straight up commando Amazon woman.
Yeah. You know, that'd be awesome.
Combat boots, knife in her mouth when she walked to the class.
Like an action figure, basically.
Yeah, exactly. GI Edge.
We've got a pretty normal woman who is just vaguely interested in students stapling themselves. So
that one time. She asked us to do it, and then to her credit, she said, "Okay, stop doing that now." She asked us to show her, and she said, "You know what? That's not more educational than I originally thought. So stop doing that."
Yeah. I'm thinking now of like teachers I had that like spoke the way kids spoke in high school in 2004, and I'm just like, man, I wonder what it's like to like be a student now, because like I learned bad words from teachers, and they would like tease kids. Like we had a couple of math teachers who were like these two guys that were clearly friends in their like mid-40s who spoke like my dad, basically. just like, you know, the uncouth words for then that everyone just thought was acceptable. Especially now, it's just like you're not gonna have a math teacher dropping R bombs at 11:30 in the morning anymore, dude. You might, but they're not going to keep their job and be adored by the students like Mr. Ferguson was.
I don't know when we're going to get back to school stories. I'll just get one last one out. We had an auto shop teacher who was just like really angry and crotchety and mad at everyone. And he came in to be the like substitute for our French class. And it was time for like reading in front of the class.
And he did not speak French.
He didn't speak French at all, and he normally hated me. Like, he got me to sent me to the office multiple times. But
he didn't really like any of us because we did a little too much goofing off, and he was a very by the book. I mean, he's the shop teacher, so he's like, no, goofing off. He's exactly the shop teacher from South Park, where it's like, if you goof off, you will be horribly maimed and die.
I was gonna say
he would catch us like mid push, putting Bobby LaBerge in the recycling bin, pushing him down a hill, and then he would come out, we'd all run away, and he'd just come out in a pile of papers. Like,
exactly.
But
so he wasn't a fan of us, I guess.
Yeah, so he comes in, and it's time for like open reading or whatever, and I put up my hand, and I just pretend that I don't know how to read in French at all. I'm like, le maison le
Like a
gars,
first grader, like oh man,
so bad, and the whole class knows me because I'm in this class.
Dying.
They're
We're
all
all
laughing,
dying.
and he's like, "Quiet, quiet, quiet! Don't laugh at him. Go on,
Yeah.
James. Go on."
Okay, so you found the soft spot in his heart, clearly.
Yeah,
exactly,
and
yeah.
just
Sort of
completely
the illiterate kid.
completely exploited it
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
So everyone was
Maybe-
secretly laughing. Yeah.
Maybe he was maybe the reason he found like a soulmate in you, the illiterate student, is because he is like in trades. He's a shop teacher because he too had trouble reading. But boy howdy, was he an excellent carpenter?
Oh yeah, he was good. He was good at his auto shop stuff. We used to make fun of him because he was like a bigger guy and he always had a spoon in his pocket. He brought his own spoon from home. And,
Yeah. Did he have a pocket protector for it to not get like mashed potatoes in his clothes?
Anyway, that's a very long tangent.
he looked exactly like the Danny DeVito's Penguin from Batman Forever.
Oh, he did.
Just a lot taller.
Yeah.
Just
Like
not short.
same kind of like beaky nose.
The
and-
hunch,
Yeah.
beaky nose,
Yeah.
all that.
Oh, that's
Very
that's
crotchety. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. Actually, that's a good. I guess that's a pretty good transition because, like, Danny DeVito's Penguin from the Batman movie, the Cenobites also have dusty gray skin as they are coated in human ashes as well. So they have Kratos skin or whatever. They're all the exact same shade of gray with the black clothing. Their color palette's all identical. All the metal bits are like silver and chrome and bejeweled. That like all their torture devices.
Okay.
What if
Then they've
50
got
Shades, 50
open
Shades of
wound.
Grey was all these perverts with all the open wounds and leash?
Oh yeah.
I have not seen the movie nor read the book 50 Shades of Grey, but that sounds like it. No,
It does. Yeah, I'm
all
pretty
perverts,
sure that.
all perverts with various levels of torture porn.
Yeah.
I've only seen one picture of whatever the main chick is, and the caption. I think it's like a screenshot from Netflix or something. She's holding like a clipboard or something, which is like the bondage agreement that obviously Frank Cotton wouldn't be into. And she's like asking her friend like, "What's a butt plug?" is just the only line of dialogue that I know.
You sure you want to sign this contract, girl?
Yeah.
Listen, sis. I'll tell you what a butt plug is, okay? But you
Yeah.
sure you won't be signing this contract? Just ask me. If you don't know what a butt plug is, you sure you know what you get yourself into?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But he's rich and has a helicopter.
Yeah,
And he's
and
beautiful.
handsome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
So?
actor was that? Somebody pull up the clip. Okay, why don't you start watching 50 Shades of Grey right now while we talk about the Cenobites, and we'll see if we could see if 50 Shades and Hellraiser are in the same universe.
Okay.
So the Cenobites.
Jamie Dornan.
Yeah, he's a handsome fella.
I don't know if I've ever seen him in any.
50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey. You seen that? Yeah. You were just talking about it.
But I literally preface it by saying I've never seen the movie nor read the book.
Right,
You're so familiar with Jamie Dornan, apparently.
Yeah.
And what a butt plug is.
Whoa. Tapping on his clipboard.
I did also earlier say I like sodomy, so
Yeah.
like all my story's lining up here. Okay,
It's true. And he does have a
Alright.
baby, so he would know what a butt plug is before us. So.
Yeah, of course.
As far as I understand how that works. But
well, yeah, because
Jamie and I are
I've
still
had sex
unmarried.
one time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it works, right? You only need to have sex a single time
and there's
with a butt
involved.
plug,
Yeah.
and then you have a baby 6 months later, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
the butt plug keeps all the love inside.
Ew.
The love is just another word for Head and Shoulders and petroleum jelly. Okay?
Of course, yes. Petroleum jelly, certainly. So the Cenobites are apparently entirely sexless in the novella. They're described as having all indicators of sexual dimorphism either removed or invisible. So they have no genitals, no breasts, nothing. They're all kind of uniform and androgynous looking. Although when they're trying to convince Frank Cotton to they're just they have this weird disconnected way of speaking because they're emotionless like BDSM demons. The final thing they do to convince him is 3 of them leave and one comes back, transforms into like a recognizable female figure, despite the fact she has severed tongues just sitting on her thighs, all pointing at her pussy like a compass, basically. And that's the part where Frank is just like, oh yeah, actually, no, the puzzle box was right. I'm going in for it. At which point he is killed. Basically, his soul is destroyed by what is known as a sensory overload, where he can like he can taste his own tongue. He can hear his blood pumping. Like, all of it is just completely overwhelming. It is the ultimate sensory experience that does end up overwhelming him and destroying his soul, thus kind of having him captured within the Cenobite realm.
Yeah.
Basically. And that's all in the intro in the book. In the film, he solves the puzzle. A bunch of meat hooks on chains stick into him, and he just gets pulled apart. It's a little... I mean, it's lower budget because it is, of course, a film they had to make and not a book written in the 80s. So those kind of the limitations there.
It would be a sensation.
It's kind of like a panic attack, though, like being just overwhelmed by the most like normal things. Like, oh my god, I can feel my pants on every part of my legs. Like, fuck this. The noise in this room is just too much, and I can't escape it. And like this and this and this is sensory overload, man.
It's a lot like that. It's described as sensory overload, obviously taken to a magical extreme. But yeah, exactly. Can taste his teeth, all that stuff. Remember everything, smell everything, like all at the same time.
Next time you come over, can you tell me what my teeth taste like?
I mean, I can check.
Okay, it's like whenever you just live somewhere, you don't know your own smell or whatever, and then you come over. It's like when you visit your friends, their houses have like a smell.
Yeah. Or even if you've been like bumming around all day and then you go to buy beer in your bathrobe and socks and sandals and you come back into your home and you're just like, God, no one will ever love me.
Yeah.
It's good. It's been 2 weeks. We haven't really talked much.
Yeah, my dog is a UTI right now. There's been a couple times where I come in, I'm like, okay, I think I gotta mop that floor again. But
okay, so your place smells like usual then.
Hey, I hope it doesn't always smell like dog piss.
No, the only oppressive smells of your apartment that has ever been is like Mr. Clean. Because when you mop like a motherfucker.
Well, because I used to do my cleaning exactly before you guys would come over every week. Because I was like, you know what? Like, I don't care about it that much in the week, but I guess people are coming over, so I should tidy up a little bit.
It's the perfect excuse to clean your house.
Yeah.
Yep. For me, it's killing time, basically. It's just like, Depp closes at 11, I can't go buy beer, gotta do something. So it's just like, I'll vacuum at 10:30, and that'll kill 20 minutes, and then like that'll keep me indoors. Where am I here?
Pete chained to his vacuum by a gimp leash.
Yeah.
Stop himself from buying beer.
Yeah, the vacuum dynamics really changed since you stopped drinking, because it used to be it was changed to your radiator. Now you're chained to your vacuum.
Yeah, exactly. The weirdest part about doing Sober October is getting like proper REM sleep and having insane fucking dreams. Speaking of another dimension between pain and pleasure, the dream I had where you and I were in my high school at a Republican senator rally, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was surrounded by a high school football team wearing a U.S. flag as a cape, standing on a collapsible table, was wild, especially because you in the dream was just like, let's go, Florida man, and then everyone in the room cheered, and I woke up.
That's still better than the mannequin dream, I guess.
Yeah. So the androgynous nature of the Cenobites is completely abandoned in the films, which it came out the following year. It was basically just like limited prosthetics and actors available for a low budget film. Like, they had to cast real people, so the guy they cast as Pinhead just looks like a bald guy. So Pinhead is very clearly male. The Cenobite known as Deep Throat is very clearly a woman. And then the other two, who are nicknamed Butterball and the Chatterer, are very clearly male-coded as well.
Isn't there a boxer named Butterball or something? Butterbean.
Butterbean, yeah. He knocked Johnny Knoxville out in a clothing store.
That's right. Really? Jackass 4 just came out, I think, not long ago.
Oh, Jackass Forever was great. We talked about this before, because I was back when Brendan got his apartment, we were watching movies constantly because he has like all the streaming services, because he has like his grandparents, his parents, his ex-girlfriend, like all these different passwords.
All the pieces of Exodia that he's been collecting.
Yeah, exactly. So we could summon any movie at any time, and one of them was Jackass Forever, and we definitely have talked about it, but it's dumb fun. Like,
I'm watching 4.5 right now. It's on Netflix. It's all the excluded scenes or whatever. And
oh, really?
Yeah. It's on.
I might check that out for a dumb laugh.
Yeah.
Fun little fact here, a little behind the scenes look into writing about trying to Google the Cenobite named Deep Throat, I wanted to write a Watergate joke. Mm-hmm. So I wrote Deep Throat Richard, and then I was just like, the results of this search will be completely irrelevant. So I just searched Deep Throat Watergate, and then got the Wikipedia page, and I was like, okay, this is correct. It's not some other controversy. I could not remember who Deep Throat was, whether it was the person who narked on Nixon or had like information about JFK or some other CIA thing. Like I could not remember for the life of me.
Guys,
it was Nixon. Yeah,
I was trying to trick my dog into taking her medicine today, and I had hot dogs, and then I just said the word Glizzygate in my head, and I was like, okay, if we ever have a scandal, it's got to be Glizzygate. All right, so we gotta come up with a hot dog scandal one of these days.
Yeah, right? we gotta manufacture some drama, dude. We gotta bump off Amaranth or whatever. I was
gonna say, like, despite the seemingly authentic horrible drama in the gaming news right now, manufacturing drama is mad easy, dude. People believe anything they read on Twitter.
People do it all the time.
Yeah,
that's how they get popular. That's what we gotta do.
Yeah,
Glizzygate 2022.
We just need to get what's his name, the drama guy.
Keemstar.
We just need to get his attention.
Yeah.
And then, maybe he'll call us a slur in DMs. And
then,
then we can Uno reverse the drama on him.
H3 will come up with a take, too, and you'll fight against Keemstar on it. Then Moist Crit will be like, listening to the Lore Boys is like listening to... it's like listening to three guys fighting for a mic, and then they're all... the mentally challenged or something like that. Like that's this fucking Moist Critical. Everything he does is fucking a simile, and it's a fucking trash take. It's like, I listened to this new album and it slaps like Will Smith at the Oscars. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Your critical impression is pretty spot on. Honestly,
I've listened to him more than I'd like to. But
we got Jamie's on Rodney Dangerfield and critical.
Yeah. Considering how much you seem to dislike him, I'm so surprised how much I get. Apparently,
he's in like the social circles of the streamers I watch. I guess they just gets all tangled together. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's like one of the internet good guys, so he's like with everybody else who's like anybody else who is approved by Hassan Piker is like associated with with Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie.
Speaking of people not approved by Charlie, Butterball is not described in the novella, but the Chatterer is. He is described as having baboon lips, which are peeled back with metal hooks and like I guess strapped to the top of his head or to his shoulders or something. If you want to open the next spoiler image, just so you can see how fucked up baboon faces are, that's what they can do.
Okay, this is funny. So I googled baboon lips as soon as you said it because I was like, what do baboon lips look like? I got a very different looking picture.
Oh wait. Aww. That's a cute baboon.
That's not a baboon. That's like some sort of lamb monkey.
I just typed baboon lips and I misspelled baboon and that's what it gave me.
It looks like
spelled baboon correctly and it's still good.
It looks like a baboon with like an Instagram beauty filter or something.
Yeah,
you know?
It does.
It's got like the plump lips and like no blemishes.
It's got great hair too. It's got like a perfect little like the upward coiffed cowlick there. Yeah.
So baboon lips does seem to be the name of like a beauty trend where it's like over collagened lips.
Oh, that's why it does look like
that's horrible, that. Yeah. The reference image that we have here is, you've got the two pictures of this weird glam monkey, this Instagram monkey, then a chick whose lips are fucked up, and then you've got the reference image that I had here where if you guys want to Google baboon lips, baboons can like flip up their top lip completely over their nose and then just expose their teeth. That's what the Chatterer looks like, except it's held up with hooks, and it's like...
So baboons have like 2.5 inch like fangs, and like they have like the tusks on the bottom, which are like quite sharp. And then this thing, it's very much like Predator, right?
You guys, I know it's an audio podcast. You ever try and flip your top lip over your nose? You really can't do it.
Yeah, I can't do it now.
I could probably do it if I tried.
Imagine the guy who's walking through the warehouse right now and he sees the forklift certified guy just baring his teeth driving down.
Okay. You say that. That is gonna happen, and people are gonna tell us because we totally had some dude driving a fucking forklift trying to overlay his hands to figure out what the frenzied flame looked like. Right? It's gonna happen.
I'm glad we're a hazard to public health.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as far as OSHA is concerned, at least someone just like grimacing at the mirror in their forklift. And they keep both hands on the controls in this case, right? This is much safer.
That's a good point.
So we were talking about Pinhead and Butterball and whatnot. The names of the Cenobites were originally nicknames given by fans of the film. Shockingly, the official name of the obese fetish monster was not, in fact, Butterball. Clive Barker originally hated the name Pinhead because obviously calling someone a pinhead is just like, you dumbass, basically. Yeah. And I don't know, like, I guess he just didn't think that through, or he's just like, oh boy, I love this design. If you want to open the next spoiler image, he did a sketch of Pinhead, and he's just like, yeah, this creepy bondage monster covered in needles. It's just like, what are you gonna call him? It's like, I haven't decided yet.
It's somebody, I guess, for people who don't know what Pinhead looks like. It's somebody who realized they left the stove on at the end of an acupuncture session, right?
Runs on out with all the pins on.
Yeah. In the first film, he is credited as lead Cenobite. He does not have a name in the original movie. Just the actor is credited as lead Cenobite, and the rank is only given to him because he's the one who spoke first. Deep Throat in that one is simply credited as female Cenobite, and then the Chatterer and Butterball do not speak. Actually, Butterball, considering one of the few animes I've actually watched, Butterball, for anybody who this comparison is going to make any sense, one of the 5 members of the God Hand is this hunched over little goblin man with goggles and like tented fingers and like open like fat lips. That's what Butterball looks like. A very like little thing, very weird, but in fetish gear instead of being like a little sprite thing.
Okay, I'm picturing what you drew Gordon Ramsay as in the Alita episode, but
not far off.
Not far off, but with goggles.
Okay.
Yeah, like steampunk Alita Gordon Ramsay, if that's an easier reference for you, Jake.
For me, it was because I've seen you draw it.
Yeah, and not one of the members of the God Hand.
Yeah.
The one thing that was left out of the film, for the obvious reason that the actor had to speak his lines, is that the novella Cenobite, that is Pinhead, actually has a bunch of needles in his tongue as well, or in its tongue, I suppose. Face, its entire body, and in its tongue is all like these bejeweled, pins, basically. Like if you've ever sewn anything, the fastening pins with the big kind of fat handle, the thing that you use something to hold it in place, those are what's in there with jewels on the end, basically.
Yeah. Our listeners know what pins are.
How does this guy even go to the airport?
It takes so long. It's just like, sir, please put everything in the bin. He's just like hundreds of pins.
Bink,
yeah.
Bink. Yeah.
So yeah, in the book he could write perfectly fine, but in the movie he was always it's talking like this.
So we're gonna get into the only Cenobite character within the novella that actually has a name after the break. Wish granted, and thank you for listening to that ad, everybody. That is 1/1000th of a cent back into the show. And we invest every cent back into it. So you can really, whatever they just tried to sell you, it's coming back.
Yeah, and it's coming back in gold for Jamie's World of Warcraft.
Okay, you said that more than once. I have separate bank accounts. I work my real life job for my WoW.
Yeah.
I put aside our Patreon money for show investments. So.
Our daddy lore bucks, right?
Yeah.
So prior to the break, I had mentioned that none of the actual Cenobites are named, other than one in the novella. There is one entity in the novella with a name, and it is called, I guess it's more of a job. It is called the Engineer. It is some kind of non-Cenobite ancient demon with a head that is made up of like a cone of white fire, and the rest of the body is scaly, kind of like it's described as a combination of scaly and human skin. In the film, I don't know why the fuck they did this. If you guys want to open the next spoiler image, you'll notice an upside down gooey puppet, and they thought that was better for some reason.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of like got like a scorpion-esque like look to its tailbone, which is what is it called, the vestigial tail? I guess.
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
And then, head where its crotch is supposed to be. Big ugly head.
Really, what it seems like is like if a monster walked in and it had a scorpion thing for a face and a face for a crotch.
Yeah, or it looks like its head could be like it's kind of got like mole hands. and it's kind of got like a mole-esque face.
It does.
Or maybe like if a hummingbird like beak was made out of flesh and it didn't have eyes and the beak didn't open.
Yeah, so moles, little known fact, moles, like while they're tunneling, they don't need to see in front of them. So they have a face in their grundle so they can see what's coming from behind them. Like this monster.
You can't. So another fun known fact about moles, you can't put a butt plug in a mole because it's got a face. It's a face plug.
Yeah, that becomes a pacifier, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah.
I'm a dad now. I can confirm.
If you want to waterproof yourself, you need a pacifier and a butt plug, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If anyone noticed, I was having some struggles with my mic. Just decided to completely stop working as soon as I hit the break. So we're using the headset mic now. So sorry for the lower quality.
If anybody has noticed a shocking dip in quality of the Lore Boys, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Lore Boys here coming at you guys live and hot.
So as the Hollywood machine continued to churn out content, like some kind of shrieking crystal pyramid at the vertex of pain and pleasure, more information was written into the backstories of the Cenobites and their puzzle box, now puzzle boxes. More Cenobites were added as well. Some awesome, like Angelique, who is a woman where the top of her head, she's bald, and the top of her head is completely peeled open, exposing her skull. And like metal threads have the skin flaps of the top of her skull strapped down to like where you'd have the shoulder straps of like an elegant dress.
Oh yeah.
Others are utterly idiotic, like CD, who is a Cenobite who has 5 CDs in his head.
He's like the latest cars from the 1996 era. I can have 5 CDs in at once and rotate them, so you never have to put them in and out. Yeah.
I mean, exactly. He's even better than that. He's got like a cartoonishly like stretched to either side mouth, and he's got
which is also a CD. There's a CD in his mouth too.
Oh, it's a CD. It's like a CD tray. It's like when you load the CD is his mouth. Oh my god!
And you know, like we saw Jamie's PlayStation. I can't remember if that was on the bonus content or on the regular episode. But you know the little kind of foamy lips that guide your CD into the tray without scratching it. That's what his mouth is.
Yeah.
Right there, ladies and gentlemen, for who can't see anything.
Yeah. Jamie's holding his PS4 up to the camera.
I keep it next.
But yeah, like camera head, piston head, and CD are very much like Hollywood brain death on full display, understanding absolutely nothing about the thing that they're adapting and just thinking like, well, people like Pinhead because he's got pins in his head. So what if the next toy that we release is a guy with different stuff in his head?
Yeah.
And we just name him after the stuff, basically.
All right.
We need 15 different things to put in somebody's head on my desk by the end of the day, Johnson.
It's just a guy in his garage. He's got like a CD player, pistons, a camera for some reason.
So wait, that's a good idea. Put a pin in that. Wait.
Pin in
that. No, that one's been taken. Oh, damn! Really thought we had something there with Pinhead, but it's already done.
Yeah.
It'd be so funny if like the guy shows up to the business meeting with his, in quotes, new character Pinhead, and then it's like literally the exact same drawing as the one, and he's just like, oh fuck, and he like tears it off and throws it away. It's like, what did you have? Johnson's like, nothing this time, sir. I'm sorry, no daily today. So as I had mentioned earlier, the puzzle boxes were created by Philippe Le Marchand, who was a French architect, Freemason, and occultist, born sometime in the late 17th century, who has a goofy fucking portrait, if you guys want to open the next image and describe this man to the listeners.
Okay, yeah. Very yeah, so he's got like Angelique had the like strings attaching the skin on top of her head to her shoulders, like very taut. This guy
like guitar
has,
wires.
Yeah, this guy clearly has like invisible puppeteer strings, like holding him upright. Like he's got great posture, but they're holding him upright by his eyebrows.
Yeah,
just, like halfway through his forehead. He's wearing like I guess like Victorian noble clothes, or maybe pre-Victorian noble clothes.
He's got pug eyes. They're really
pug eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. It's a very goofy cartoon portrait. For some reason, found it all very confusing. Maybe because I was writing this episode after a full day of work. Philippe Le Marchand is not a fictionalized version of a real French like weird guy. He is completely fake, made up for the Hellraiser fiction. I thought it would have been just like some kind of oddball from history that was adapted into a like puzzle box crafting occultist, but no. Like this one here, completely fake.
He looks like just like a really disagreeable aristocrat. Like I don't know what else to.
The regular aristocrat, basically.
Yeah, he could be, if he had a better haircut, he could be Count Dracula.
He could be a Dracula. Easy.
Yeah, he could be a Dracula.
So Le Marchand became famous for making music boxes and wind up singing birds, and then eventually puzzle boxes. The puzzle boxes became some of the most sought-after curiosities in all of Europe at the time, as they were said to reveal great secrets and pleasures if and when they were solved. So I'd like to imagine a bunch of like people with their snuff tins just like lounging about on huge velvet couches trying to solve these puzzle boxes and then being whatever, like teleported to the masochism dimension because they want to figure out why kids love the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and like and like that being a thing in Europe that was like super fucking like you'd marry off your daughter to some like whatever gout-ridden lord because his family owns one of the like fucking puzzle boxes or something like that.
Gout sounds awful, by the way. I hope that none of us ever need to experience that.
My dad has had it, and then he reduced the amount of booze he was consuming.
It's from, I see Ethan Googling
stuff.
it. It's rich, when you consume too much rich food, there's a buildup of lactic acid between like the joints of your feet. And it just, like, apparently if you drop like a tissue on your foot, it is painful. Like, my dad had it, and then a friend of mine had it as well from a shitty diet, and he changed his diet, and because it's not just a booze thing, but it's from a lot of different things. My buddy who had it described it as if every tendon in his foot was covered in spines. Yeah, apparently, like so the worst fucking thing on the planet. And it's from eating too many sweets and stuff, so that's kind of scary.
Too much Cinnamon Toast Crunch, frankly. Like that's the dimension of pain and pleasure that you get teleported into.
Guys, I've had 4 Oreos tonight.
Oh no!
I plan on having more. Honestly, this hasn't put me off.
4 Oreos is not even like on the off chance that I have any. I would grab easily the row. Right? like someone at a poker table with a gambling addiction. Like I'm taking the whole fucking thing.
Yeah. I'm all in. I'm all in on this sleeve of Oreo cookies.
I went to the Definar earlier and I got a brownie, and now I think I'll just leave it for another day because I don't want to get the gout.
Too rich. Too rich for my feet. Sorry, guys. I always get the thin Oreos though, so I could probably do 2 rows without getting gout. Because controversial opinion, if we all have our hot takes out on display, I don't like the Oreo frosting. My favorite thing.
Why even buy Oreos then?
Dude, the cookie's delicious. My favorite thing was the like divorced woman Oreos, the snacksations or whatever, the little bag of just like tiny hexagonal cookie.
Oh yeah.
That was like 100 calories per bag or some shit. That was my jam.
Like a chocolate Dunkaroo, right?
Minus the frosting.
I don't ever buy cookies because I live alone, and if I buy a thing of cookies and like that's just me eating an entire thing of cookies and I'm committing to this, so I don't ever buy them, but
I can fuck up a box of Celebration cookies right now.
Oh dude,
I always have cookies in the house pretty much.
Like, man,
big cookie guy.
I like the chewy ones, like the like soft chocolate chip ones.
Yeah,
those ones are so good, and
those are better. They don't keep as long.
No, they don't.
Those you gotta eat fast. Those you gotta get gout for.
We went to school with someone who makes the Celebration cookies or whatever. Her dad is the owner.
She's the heiress to the Leclerc cookie fortune.
It's Leclerc because I went to school with a different cookie heiress, Felix and Morton.
Oh wow!
Well, we know all the cookie barons.
Yeah, we're in with the cookie barons.
I swear to God, I'm gonna marry her to get her dad's fucking puzzle box, dude. Don't fucking stop.
And her dad's gout.
Yeah. So after creating an estimated 270 puzzle boxes, Le Marchand disappeared. Conspiracy theorists will have you believe that his disappearance was somehow linked to his creation of hundreds of mysterious puzzle boxes, but I, a skeptical modern journalist, have decided not to investigate it whatsoever. The creation of the puzzle boxes was always part of the fiction. Frank Cotton comments on the how weird it is that this guy who used to make wind-up singing birds and music boxes made these insanely intricate puzzles as well, within the few first paragraphs of the Hellbound Heart. The origins of the Cenobites, however, is added in Hellraiser 3, I think, is when they start adding in the lore. So for the sake of time, we'll focus on Pinhead, who is the most recognizable Cenobite. Everybody knows who Pinhead is.
Ethan even knew.
Yeah, he's as iconic as Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger, even if you've never seen Nightmare on Elm Street or the whatever
Halloween?
the fucking
Friday
Jason
the
movies are called.
13th.
Halloween.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh. No, Halloween is Mike Myers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Mike Myers of Austin Powers fan.
Friday the 13th 2, Friday the 13th Part 3, Friday the 14th -1. They have like
Jason
a million
X
of
is
them.
right. He goes to the future,
Uh,
which I have not seen, but my neighbor had it on VHS. I distinctly remember the box on his mom's bookshelf.
nice.
Right. So the Cenobites are created when two souls are merged in a new body. One soul within Pinhead is one of Zipe Totec, who was a Mayan prince from 687 AD, and the soul of Elliot Spencer, a British Army veteran born in 1887.
This is like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, it is.
All right, just
I love it when it all comes together. I love it when a goof comes together, man.
Yeah, but the Millennium Pyramid would be a step pyramid. Obviously, the necklace would look different in this, but
right. What do you
Still
do
have
with
the
Step
eye.
Pyramid? Yeah.
What are you doing, Step Pyramid?
Yeah.
classic. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
So Zipe Totec was introduced in the Pinhead comics, and the little tagline, like, there's if you've ever seen a comic cover, there's like the little box that has like a what to expect within sort of thing, like a little tagline. Yeah. The tagline box on the cover states that heads will roll, pinheads, yours, and mine.
Oh,
Gotcha.
Which is very good.
Chuckle.
The Pinhead comics, I think, may have been some kind of parody involving time travel, but I didn't really look into it too much. One last picture I want you guys to open up is a cover of one of the Pinhead comics in which Pinhead appears to be trying to recruit a gay clown named Zippy into the Order of the Gash, but old Zippy simply says, "Are we having fun yet?" while drinking out of a can of something labeled clam and lime through a pink crazy straw.
All right, fits right in with us.
Yeah, that was another goof coming together moment when I saw that. I was just like, damn, dude, we've got our second G Fuel flavor.
Okay, so I don't know who Zippy is, but I will say I was on Clive Barker's Wikipedia page at the beginning of this episode, just doing some skim reading, and I was looking at his theatrical work. He had a brief stint in stage plays, one of which is A Clown's Sodom, and I'm wondering now if that features Zippy the Clown.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't know, though, because this is Super Team Family. This is a DC comic. It might be a DC character. Probably makes more sense than DC publishing a character from A Clown's Sodom.
Yeah.
In their Super Team Family comics.
Yeah. Also, I guess he's feeding him what looks like Mae Wests. Yeah. Do they have Mae Wests in the States?
They're like ho-hos.
Okay, yeah. So Zippy on the cover is also eating ho-ohs, some kind of sauce, and clam and lime. And I forgot, there's actually two speech bubbles where Pinhead is also just screaming at him, saying, "Let this be your last..."
Not ho-hos, they're ding-dongs. Excuse me.
Ding-dongs. Based on what we set up, though, it makes a lot of sense that a gay clown likes ding-dongs and not the Order of the Gash, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Pinhead.
Well, then why is he drinking clam juice, Jamie?
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so I'd like to retract my previous statement for the stenographers by clown. So ding-dongs and clam juice.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Good.
All ding-dongs and clam juice.
They keep adding bullshit to the pride flag. Like next pride year, like next June, there's just gonna be a big fucking clam on it too. Just like, yeah, whatever, everybody's here.
I wonder why they're called ding dongs. Do you think they used to be like delivered to your front door or something, and then you'd ring the doorbell and they'd be like, "Ding dong, it's my ding dongs" or something?
I seriously doubt it.
What's the
I don't think
etymology?
the mailman, the milkman, and then the hostess cake man, like a drug-addled housewife could handle any more cock, frankly.
I wish I wish I could call my mailman a ding dong.
The etymology is, I'm gonna guess, a whatever marketing firm Hostess employed during the 1960s. It was some John Hamm-esque character drunk at 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon who said, "Fuck it, call them ding dongs."
Yeah.
Yeah, who doesn't like that?
We gotta
name?
take a look at this.
Yeah.
How do we convince people to eat chocolate bread? Call them ding dongs.
Yeah.
Call them ding dongs, you ding dong.
Yeah, it rolls off the
Or it's
tongue.
like an idea he stole from the talented secretary.
Yeah. It rolls off the tongue. It ring-rongs in the ear or something. I don't know.
He's got like the easel, like picture of a cake, picture of a bell, and then he's just like, call them ding dongs. So moving past Zippe Totek and Zippy, Elliot Spencer. This is a much more authentic origin. The comics came out after the films, and Elliot Spencer is in the intro of one of the movies, I think in Hellraiser 3. Elliot Spencer served in the British Army in the First World War. Originally, he was a caring and empathetic captain right up until fighting through the many battles of Flanders. So he first lost faith in humanity, and then finally faith in God, witnessing the cruelty and violence of the battlefield. After the war, suffering from both survivor's guilt and PTSD, he travels what is left of the British Empire, indulging himself in various forms of hedonism, so sex, drugs, gambling, all that, all the good stuff.
He's earned it.
Fun fact, because he was traumatized at Flanders Field, all of Pinhead's pins are actually the discarded pins from poppies when you're done after Memorial Day. So this is actually also our Memorial Day episode.
Oh, yeah.
Banging a twofer.
All right, just re-release this.
Yeah. Honestly, we better record another episode after this, guys, at 10 p.m. before release date, so we can save this one.
Write and then record a new episode.
Yeah, so we record it at 4 in the morning and release it 3 hours later.
Yeah, exactly. 1 hour later. We goes up at 5 a.m., baby.
Oh, Christ, dude.
Honestly, there's been a lot of nights for me going to bed at 5 a.m., so I could probably...
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
Me too, yeah.
Not me, man. I'm sleeping like a... I mean, I guess this doesn't mean anything to Ethan anymore. I've been sleeping like a baby. I need some new idioms for our new situation. So eventually, while traveling the British Empire and indulging himself in sex, drugs, and gambling, Spencer finally came across one of the many puzzle boxes in British India. We can assume that the engineer took Spencer and turned him into Pinhead rather than push his senses to the limit or pull him apart with different torture devices. Spencer, having already lost much of his empathy and humanity in war, was the perfect candidate to be transformed into a cold and unfeeling hell priest of the Order of the Gash.
Cool.
His role in the universe has changed with the popularity of the films, like I said. Originally, like in the novella, he's merely one of many Cenobites that just shows up when you open the puzzle box to take you to the labyrinth beneath the god of flesh and pleasure or whatever, because it's just his job. It's basically, the puzzle box is basically like the business card that you use to call him. And he's like, yep, all right, unending pleasure and sensory overload. You called for it, and here's your delivery, basically. Eventually, due to the popularity of the character and Hollywood being Hollywood, he became much more of like an active antagonist. The antagonist of the novella and the first film is Frank Cotton, as well as his sister-in-law, Julia. So it happens early in the film, which I still think you should watch, but Frank Cotton manages to escape the Cenobite realm at the beginning, and through incredible practical effects is like brought back from the dead. And prior to being, whisked away into the Cenobite dimension, he had been sleeping with his brother's wife, Julia. And they restart their affair, where she starts to seduce men and bring them to the house to have them murdered in the attic so that he can then absorb their life force and, like, reconstitute his body. But he's very much like a reverse Voldemort sort of thing. He starts as, like, a gross little baby skeleton and then eventually grows back into a full-grown man, basically.
He's like a Dr. Frankenstein if the Dr. Frankenstein was the monster.
Exactly. Rather than the monster.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. I don't want to dive into this. Let's just move on.
And this episode's gone too long for Jamie to handle Peter and I's shenanigans. So.
Yeah, I know. It's like my dog is also having pee-pee problems, and she's barking at me, and I'm like,
and you've had
just
brutal technical issues, yeah.
Yeah. Let's just move on.
Jamie's basically recording on like a turntable at this point because his computer just decided to stop working at 10:15.
I don't even know what to. I think I think it all comes down to Voice Meter, our very free, very weird acting software to make us all come into one channel together.
But we couldn't live without it at this point.
No, it's got us this far, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So after kind of replacing human antagonists, or I guess like greed and passion as the antagonist, Pinhead ended up becoming like the leader of the Cenobites, which is why he always had a different crew of like guys with CDs in their faces, because he was the leader of the new action figures for the 7th sequel, basically.
What is the CD guy's like superpowers or like even purpose? Like, why does he exist other than to be weird?
So it's funny. I have a point about him. I don't know why he is that way. But not all Cenobites require a human soul to be created. Angelique, who I talk about constantly just because I think she's the coolest looking one personally, she was a demon living within Leviathan's realm, who is then kind of promoted to Cenobite. And then Butterball was like an obese pervert, so now he's still that. CD was a DJ, which is, I guess, the worst one.
Okay.
That's it. I don't know what his purpose in the film is or which film he's even in. I didn't get that granular. But yeah, man, he used to be a DJ.
Okay.
CD is a mute and blind Cenobite who makes electronic noises whenever he moves. Once a DJ for the Boiler Room, the Gimp Club that Clive Barker.
That was Cell Block 28 or something, but yeah, I guess it would be analogous to that. It'd be analogous to that.
Another old story from my stepbrother and I. We used to have a stack of CDs because you could burn CDs back in our youth, and we would take the blank CDs and we would throw them at each other and try and catch them without the edges touching us, because we felt we would be prepared if someone threw a saw blade at us, that we'd be able to catch it with like without the blades
a CD-sized saw blade, a small saw blade.
That's right. Yeah,
a small circular saw.
There was a pillar in our basement, and we would like curve it around the pillar and like try and catch it and stuff.
Yeah,
sometimes
I know a friend of mine's little brother got hit in the face and it cut his forehead open because that's just a lot of kids threw CDs at each other, because like you buy a stack of 800 and use 6.
They even have like the blank ones on top that you can't even write a CD. It's just a plastic. Basically, you can throw it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Plastic divider for their counting machine or whatever.
Yeah.
For the factory.
Yeah. I threw away, I think, 100 blank CDs that I moved like 3 or 4 different apartments with, and I don't think I ever used a single one of them. It was just a thing I thought I would need, basically.
I used to burn my CDs, and then I would draw with permanent marker on them, like checkered patterns, like Jamie's Mix number 6, and like put like really cool designs on them, and like it'd be like, I don't know, like 3 Days Grace, I Hate Everything About You, and just listening to it in my basement. I think it was very cool. But,
so I can hear Ice barking, and it's perfect timing, because despite getting maybe a little complicated and goofy with the seemingly, I mean, a new one came out probably this fucking week, the completely endless sequels to the original Hellraiser, the original movie is still absolutely fantastic. I think it's worth watching. It's an excellent haunted house film. And the audiobook, while I only listened to about an hour of it, the voice actor, I can link it in the script if anybody's interested, the voice actor has a bunch of like Foley work behind him and shit too, so he really went all in and has a very charming British accent.
So he had a stack of papers and a cutting board?
Yeah, he did.
The Lore Boys gold standard for good Foley work?
Yeah. Good Foley work,
yeah.
Only gets better with time. So I have been your host. I've been your puzzle box, Peter O'Donohue. You can find me at Lore Boys Podcast on Instagram, or head on over to Discord, which is linked below. Jamie.
James Miller, check me out on the Discord. Get in that link. We hang out all the time there. And
who are you, Philippe Le Marchand? Over here.
Yeah.
3 impressions.
Yeah, if you play WoW Classic, fairly in a horde side, you Nipple is my uni paladin. So
you the letter U, like University of Nipple.
And then Nipple, exactly, right after that. So come hang out, play some games with me, or hop into Discord and chat with me. I'm probably gonna be branching out to other games now, since I've gotten all the gear I need for now. So. Thank you also so much for the birthday gifts. Forshi, Dwarf, and Darnell all got me a Steam game for my birthday just before. And thank you so much to all 3 of you.
Consider yourselves shouted out.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening, everybody. If you want to join the Discord, like Tubi says, check out the link in the description below. We also have a merch store, which we update when the merch site works. But if you guys want any of Pete's art that you want to see featured on it, other than anything tangentially related to Disney, because we get copyright strike for it
instantly,
instantly, pretty much. you could just send us a request on the Discord. We'll make sure to do it. You can also send us emails at contact@loreboys.com or loreboyspodcast@gmail.com. And we'll read them eventually whenever we do another mailbag someday, some way, somehow. We'll get back to you. If you guys want to support the show financially, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/theloreboys, where you could get the loser titles for each week's episodes. You get the bonus content, which Jamie diligently and without fail uploads every week on time. You can get access to scripts sometimes when we remember to upload them to the site afterwards. We have hours of bonus content at this point. So if you want to,
it's got to be 15 hours at this point.
I've probably get a full ass hour this week because I neglected last week. So you'll get a lot this week. But yeah.
So if you want to hear us just more off the cuff, more just chatting about our lives and about things that are going on, that's a great place to do it. Great place to hang out. Patreon.com/loreboys. That's where you can find that. And if you want to sell your soul for a puzzle box, you can head on over to loreboysprime.com. We are working on puzzle boxes. We're basically hollowing out Rubik's cubes, and we're filling them with razor blades. We know Halloween's coming up, and we know there's going to be a lot of eager trick-or-treaters out there. Oh, yeah. So we want to make sure that all our Lore Boys, Lore Primers, or Lore Prime folks are ready for the trick-or-treaters. You know what I mean? Yeah. We want you guys to submit to us your best and spookiest Halloween ideas. Maybe something like bunting, where you're like a horrific apparition that has just foam filling kind of glued to their head all over the place.
Come to our door. You can ding dong and leave with a ding dong.
Yeah, probably, you can ding dong ditch, but don't ditch before you get a ding dong.
Better not.
That would have been a very good catch. If you were drunk at 1:30 in a marketing agency in New York City, that would have been great.
You can you can be ding dong head in the Lore Boys Hell Army.
Yeah. You can hoe around for a ho-oh.
We just need a picture of you with a bunch of ding dongs glued and or taped to your head. That's really all it's going to take to sell your soul to this Hell Army. I think that would constitute a Lore Boys.
Lore Boys.
Out.
Oh, it was Gore Bones.
Gore Bones out.
Hellraiser.
Gash Bones out.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even know there was a mother plot based on the trailers. That was news to me.
It got me, dude. I was tearing up. I was all sensitive and stuff. I'd been out all the whole night before. I have my own dead mom and stuff. I'm like, oh man, this is so much.
Yeah. Jamie been away for 21 hours at that point, crying watching anime.